Hotep, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. So it is Friday, March 7th, Friday, April 17th, 2020. I'm here in Detroit once again. Now this is spring. Spring came either March 20th or March 21st. Spring comes on the vernal equinox. The vernal equinox is the day where you have the same amount of daylight as sunlight, same amount of nighttime as daytime. It's snowing again here in Detroit, and so a couple days ago I did a broadcast showing you the snow. Today the flakes are even larger. Now I know on the weather report, I watched the 11 o'clock news here in Detroit last night, Channel 7, and they said it was going to snow, but it's like, wait a second, this is springtime, man. This is crazy. This doesn't make sense. See, this is climate change. This doesn't make sense. It's snowing like it's winter time. This is here in Detroit. I'm in downtown Detroit. I'm on Orleans, off of Lafayette. Okay, we got the DeQuinder Cut over here. People in Detroit know what I'm talking about. The DeQuinder Cut, where people, run and all this. This is all gentrification. This is like ground zero. Downtown Detroit is like ground zero for gentrification. Okay, it's snowing down here. Okay, it feels like wintertime, but it's spring. This is crazy. All right, this is climate change. This is an example how changes in the environment are having a change on the weather. All right, and it's coming down even heavier. This looks like wintertime out here. Look at this. This is this is crazy. How's everybody doing today? All right. So I just wanted to show you all this. I'm about to get in the car. I'm not going to be as long as I was last time because I had to put my gloves on because my fingertips started freezing, right? But so is it snowing like in cities where you all are? Let me know. Okay. Check out my broadcast. A lot's going on right now. A lot's going on with coronavirus. We see that America is over 600,000 reported cases, over about 33,000 deaths. Also, we see that Donald Trump issued guidelines yesterday at his White House press conference, which is really a campaign rally, to reopen states, reopen the economy, and he left it up to the governors to implement it. Because he realized somebody must have explained the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution to him. He doesn't have ultimate power. That power lies with the states. It was governors who signed executive orders that shut down parts of the economy, like here in Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. So check out the broadcast I did yesterday. We have more stuff coming for you. This is an example of how elections have consequences. This is an example of government impacting your business. We just saw on Thursday, the Trump administration, the White House announced that basically all the money was gone from the $350 billion. Damn, it's coming down even more. Oh my God, $350 billion from the small business loan program, dealing with the paycheck protection program, things like this. There's going to be another round of funding coming, as I talked about. They're going to have to do this, and that money went in 2 weeks, And we're seeing that even some franchises got some of that money. It's supposed to go to small businesses with employees under 500 that were really impacted by it, by coronavirus, how it's impacting the economy. If you watched my broadcast yesterday, I went through this. 1.6 million businesses were approved for the loans. I'm not sure how many applied, and I want to know how many African-American owned businesses applied for the loans and were approved, because we know African-American owned businesses were disproportionately, we were shut out of a lot of that money for a number of reasons, Let's flip around. It's coming down even more now. Damn, this is crazy. This is here in Detroit, downtown Detroit. Man, it's snow. This is Friday, April 17th. It's springtime, Don't tell the squirrels and the birds it's springtime. Look at this. This snow coming down. Man. All right, so we see all this going on, and we see also, we saw that right here in Michigan, the state capital, on Wednesday, we saw a bunch of dumbass people. I don't want to call them dumbass white people, so I won't say that. We saw a bunch of dumbass people, about 15,000 of them in the state's capital, protesting against the executive order from Governor Gretchen Whitmer to shut down certain businesses, non-essential businesses, things like this. We saw people out there, a lot of white men were out there with their guns and American flags and Confederate battle flags protesting the stay-at-home order. There's some aspects of the stay-at-home order, of various executive orders she's done, I disagree with some aspects. But in general, the stay-at-home order and social distancing, things like that, I agree with. Okay? Some of those dumbasses that were out there with their guns and Confederate battle flags and things like this, some of them are going to get coronavirus. And some of them, you know, unfortunately, you know, they're going to have to go to the hospital. Hopefully there'll be a ventilator for them. Hopefully there'll be a hospital bed for them. All right. Some of them are going to find out fat meat is greasy. But when we look at all this taking place, not the snow coming down, that's something different. Look at the snow. Look at the snow on my jacket. Look at the snow. Look at this is springtime. Okay. But when we look at all this taking place, this shows us how elections have consequences. All right. And this is federal government impacting state government. This is the fiduciary malfeasance. This is a lack of leadership coming from the White House initially, because we know that Trump ignored warnings from the intelligence community and others going back to at least November 2019. New York Times has a big article about this, dealing with he could have done more, things like this. We know Washington Post has reporting on this, etc. So right here in the city of Detroit, on Wednesday, Mayor Mike Duggan, the white mayor of the city of Detroit, 80% black, whole nother story I'm not going to get into right there. Just, I warn people didn't want to listen to me. Once again, 2013, I warned people what happened if Mike Duggan became mayor. People didn't want to listen to me. Okay, whatever. Okay, justification, whooping our ass. Okay, I tried to tell you before it really got underway. People didn't want to listen, but that's another conversation. I'm not one to gossip, so you didn't hear it from me. But but because of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's executive order, about a month or so ago, she shut down the casinos, the 3 casinos here in Detroit: Motor City Casino, MGM Grand, and Greektown Casino. Because to slow the spread of coronavirus. Rightfully so. I'm not blaming her for doing that. She was correct in doing that. But the 3 casinos pay the city of Detroit $600,000 a day in taxes, right? $600,000 a day in taxes are paid from the 3 casinos to the city of Detroit. So because they're not open and not bringing in this revenue, they're not paying the city of Detroit the tax money. So guess what? Mayor Mike Duggan announced on Wednesday the city of Detroit has to cut $348 million from the city budget. They're going to have to cut back on people's hours. It's going to be a lot of cuts being made. They're going to also have to renegotiate contracts with vendors of the city of Detroit. Okay? So this is federal government impacting local government. So, because oftentimes I hear people say, well, we're not going to vote for president. You got some dumbasses saying we just going to do economic empowerment and invest in the stock market and not deal with politics. That's dumb as hell. Because government and politics and laws impact the economy that your business operates within. Government policy and laws impacts the laws and the regulations that regulate your business. Now you got a lot of white businesses shut down and a lot of black businesses shut down because of government. So yes, I'm all for economic empowerment and entrepreneurship and investing in the stock market, things like that. My degree's in business administration. I've been preaching that for over 20 years. I've taught entrepreneurship for 7 years, managed business consulting companies. I've also been involved in government. I managed a company where we had city contracts, county contracts, and state contracts. I understand the role government plays and how government impacts every aspect of our life. Politics impacts every aspect of our life, from the water we drink to the air we breathe to the food we eat. There have been 95 environmental regulations that have been reversed or weakened under the Trump administration that were put in place by the Obama administration or previous administrations. And this has led to a deterioration in the quality of air over the past 3 years. Washington Post has an article about this, and that comes from data from the annual census report, because there's a 10-year census that takes place, which is going on right now, but there's an annual census report on income and poverty that comes out every September. A lot of people don't know this. Go to census.gov. A lot of people don't know this. Okay? So here we have federal government impacting city government, and the city of Detroit has to cut back $348 million from the budget because of the impact coronavirus is having on the economy. Elections have consequences. We must understand principles of political self-defense. Economic empowerment is one. When we deal with the pyramid principle, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor Jay Small are two of my teachers. And when they teach as well as I do, I show you the pyramid of Cooperative at Giza. And the pyramid has three sides. The foundation is African history and culture. It gives us our values, our interests, and our principles. That influences our economic empowerment, our political empowerment. It influences the way we engage in economics. Are we engaging based upon white capitalism that we learn from white business schools? Or are we using other principles like the cooperative economics principle, which is an African principle? Those are principles that we brought from Africa here. So if you read the book Collective Courage by Dr. Jessica Gordon Nimhard, which deals with a documented history of all different types of co-ops that we have, cooperatives, okay? We have a deep, rich history in that. What do we talk about? The Colored Merchants Association, which was founded about 1927, 1928, by the National Negro Business League, which was founded by Booker T. Washington. We did with the Free African Society, 1787. We did with the Colored Farmers Union of about 1886, founded in Texas, which grows to over 1.2 million members. The way we engaged in business historically was different than the way many of us have been taught to do it today. Okay? Google Dr. Jessica Gordon Nimhard, N-E-M-B-H-A-R-D. Because I interviewed her back about 2014, and I read her book. Her book is fantastic. And there are a number of articles and interviews with her if you Google her. But those are African principles we brought with us here, that we were using even during slavery. Free Africans were using those in forming these cooperatives even during slavery. Then if you look at 1959, when Berry Gordy, right here in the Motor City, in Detroit, Michigan, when he founded Motown Records, we know he got the money from his family, $800. What we didn't know is he got it from his family's co-op. His family had a cooperative. The cooperatives are ancient African principles. So I went to business school, a white business school. I learned white business principles. But I was also studying African history. This is how I know the difference. So follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. My YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, I-M-H-O-T-E-P. So we have African history and culture giving us our foundation, our values, our interests, and our principles. We have economic empowerment, one side of the pyramid. The other side of the pyramid is political empowerment, dealing with politics. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. This is why when I deal with principles of political self-defense, which is a whole concept that I've created and coined from experience, being out in the business world, doing business consulting, engaging in politics, being involved in writing public policy right here for the city of Detroit, Executive Order 22 under the Kwame Kilpatrick administration, understanding how, getting a better understanding how government works, especially local government, but also county and state government. So when we deal with principles of political self-defense, we must understand the law better than they understand the law. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources. Many people say, okay, the laws were created to trap us and all that stuff. Well, if the laws were created to trap us, shouldn't we know where all the pitfalls are and all the booby traps are so we don't get caught up in it? We must understand the law better than they understand the law. The foundation of law in this country is the U.S. Constitution. Go to LOC.gov, Library of Congress website. Go to archives.gov. How's it going? Go to archives.gov. Read the U.S. Constitution there. Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution clearly tells you that the U.S. Constitution, all of the previous treaties and all the subsequent treaties are the supreme law of the land. Then you study Article 1, which deals with the power of Congress. Congress is a co-equal branch of government. You deal with Article 2, which deals with the executive branch, the president. Contrary to Donald Trump, contrary to what he's lying and saying, Article 2 does not give him the authority to do whatever he wants. you deal with the 27 amendments. The U.S. Constitution is 7 articles and 27 amendments. Okay? First 10 amendments are part of the Bill of Rights, 1791. That wasn't even part of the original Constitution. I know a lot of people like to talk about the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. That wasn't even part of the original Constitution. Okay? So this is why we must understand law. Law forms the foundation of politics. Unfortunately, and we have to understand history, law, and politics. Unfortunately, most African Americans, we don't understand any of this stuff. This is why people can keep lying to us and running these games on us. Okay? Politics impacts every aspect of your life. Period. Voting is just one aspect of politics. And when we deal with voting, I'm going to get in the car because my fingers are freezing up now. Voting is just one aspect of politics. It's not the only thing. But when we vote, we have to vote not based upon political party, but based upon policies that are beneficial to African Americans. Whose policies are going to be most beneficial for us? Whose policies are most realistic to actually happening? Because anybody can promise you the world, right? Anybody can promise you reparations. They can't even explain to you legally how to bring it into existence. Because back in 2016, I saw people here in Detroit, good people I know, people I respect, campaigning for Jill Stein, saying we're going to get Jill Stein to do an executive order to pay reparations. You ever read Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution? You realize that the powers of the purse strings belong to Congress. A president can't do no executive order to pay reparations. That has to go through both chambers of Congress, the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, the lower chamber and the upper chamber, before it goes to the president's desk to be signed into law. That's not going to be an executive order. What are you talking about? That ain't happening. No. But we don't understand law. Most of us haven't read. I speak all across the country. I ask people, who's read the U.S. Constitution, especially since this fool's been in office? 99% of our people never read it before. That explains a lot. And the Constitution comes out of historical events. We don't understand history or law. So, make a long story short, before I lose all total feeling in my fingers, I got to get on the road. So when we vote, and I did a broadcast March 10th, I think it was, when we voted here in Detroit, in Michigan, for the primary. And I dealt with a black agenda, Joe Biden's policies compared to Bernie Sanders, and I dealt with a policy matrix coming from the root.com, which is really, really good. They dealt with a black agenda. Michael Harriot had an article on the black agenda. I'm not a big fan of Michael Harriot. Some of his reporting I don't like, but this was a good article, and it was a policy matrix that a group of experts put together to evaluate the policies of the Democratic candidates to see how they would benefit African Americans. Policies will benefit you either positively or negatively. It doesn't have to say black or African American to benefit us. For instance, July of 2019, the Democrats in the House of Representatives passed a bill to increase the federal minimum wage from $7.25 an hour to $15 an hour by the year 2025. That bill is stuck in Congress. That bill is stuck in the Senate because about 80% of the bills, there were 433 bills that the House of Representatives passed in 2019. 80% of those bills are stuck in the Senate, or they die in the Senate, blocked by Moscow Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, and Republicans in the Senate who control the Senate 53 to 47. That bill right there is very beneficial to African Americans. It doesn't say black or African American. And if you understand how many white people got to vote on this stuff to get it passed, it's better if it doesn't say black or African American. If you actually understand the process of getting bills passed. See, this is different than bullshit you hear in a lot of YouTube videos and documentaries. Because the fact of the matter is, there are 435 members in the House of Representatives. Only 53 are black. There are 100 members in the U.S. Senate. Only 3 are black and 1 don't act like it. Senator Tim Scott, Republican from South Carolina. He's black. He didn't join the Congressional Black Caucus. He said he's not voting for reparations if it comes to the Senate. But he don't have to worry about that because Senator Moscow Mitch McConnell already said reparations is dead on arrival in the Senate, which means he's not going to get a vote or a debate because he controls the Senate as long as he's there. Now, we need to vote his ass out of office November 3rd, 2020. He's up for re-election in Kentucky. Okay? Moscow Mitch McConnell. But we don't understand a lot of this stuff. So if you actually understand how many white people got to vote on a lot of these bills, it's better if it don't say black or African American and red, black, and green, all this stuff. If you actually want to get stuff passed. When you study the history of slavery in this country, there was a reason why most slaves ran away at nighttime, not in the daytime. They didn't have degrees, but they weren't stupid. I mean, think about this. During slavery in this country, 246 years, why did most slaves run away at nighttime and not in the daytime? They could see better in daytime, but they had a better chance in the cover of night. So if you need all these white people to vote on these bills, and most of their constituents back home are white, then if you understand strategy and political self-defense, you realize when you can convince them of how this bill that would disproportionately, positively benefit African Americans, how it's going to benefit their people at home that watch Fox News and dip snuff and drink moonshine to get them to vote for it, that's understanding strategy. We don't understand that. We trying to run away in the daytime. Okay, whatever. All right. So, hey, if you like this type of information, you can donate. You can support the African History Network. Donate $the AHN show through Cash App. $the AHN show through Cash App. I'm going to show you the snow one more time because this is crazy. $the AHN show through Cash App. $the AHN show through Cash App. Also, paypal.me/the AHN show. Paypal.me/the AHN show through PayPal, or go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button on the home page. You can donate. That helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, finance our Sunday night show. We'll be on live Sunday. Because of the executive orders here, there's a stay-in order, so the radio station has us broadcasting from home. This is another way government is impacting our lives. So I'll be broadcasting from the studios of my apartment. Okay, once again, Sunday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the African History Network show. And a lot of people, also a lot of people talk about a black agenda. I'm all for a black agenda. A black agenda is not what people give us. A black agenda is what we put together based upon understanding history, based upon understanding law, based upon understanding policies, and the impact historical policies have had on African Americans. And a black agenda deals with policies that would disproportionately benefit us and take us where we need to go. That's what we present to other people. That's what we present to candidates. That's what we present to elected officials. That's not what we wait on people to present to us. People have it backwards. When we talk about self-determination and the second principle of Kwanzaa, Kuji Chagalia, that's not something you just practice 7 days out of the year. That's 365. A lot of us have this backwards. We want to be super black for 7 days during Kwanzaa. No. A black agenda is what we create for ourselves, because other people have agendas for themselves. They ain't sitting back waiting on other people that don't look like them to give them their own agenda. What kind of nonsense is that? Power is the ability to define and shape reality and have other people accept your definition of reality as if it were their own. That's Dr. Wade Nobles. Google Dr. Wade Nobles. Power is the ability to define and shape reality and have other people accept your definition of reality as if it were their own. Or as I say, what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you've been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. This is why our motto is right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. So when we deal with understanding a black agenda, and I tie this into political self-defense, policies, when we deal with presidential candidates or candidates in general, their policies are going to benefit us positively and negatively. Also, a black agenda gives you a measuring stick to measure candidates by, measure their policies by, etc., to see whose policies are going to be most beneficial for us, whose policies will do us the least amount of harm, whose policies are most realistic to coming into fruition, actually happening, okay? And also, who can create an environment for you to push your agenda the farthest and get the most accomplished. Because the election day is the end of one phase and the beginning of another phase, because it deals with continuing to push your agenda and hold people accountable. This is something a lot of people don't understand, okay? All right, so with that being said, let's look at this snow one more time before I lose total feeling in my hands, my fingertips. Some more snow coming down. And people asked before, where's your surgical mask? It's in the car. When I get in the car, I'm gonna wear it, okay? And I bought a mask. I ain't running around Detroit with a bandana and all that stuff wrapped around shit. I get shot. But anyway, Some of this stuff, it may work for white people. It don't work for African. You know, take a homemade mask, take a scarf, take a bandana. Yeah, okay, whatever. You do that if you want to. I ain't doing that. I bought some masks. Okay. All right, this is more snow coming down. Okay. All right, look, hey, we got to get out of here. Also at my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All of my DVD lectures are there. Digital downloads. We have my lecture, 6 Principles of Political Self-Defense, Understanding How Laws and Policies Impact the Economic Conditions of African Americans. We have bundle packs like the Black Migration 1619 to 2019 bundle pack. We also have a recommended reading list of about 70 books. A lot of us are quarantined at home. We're spending more time at home. We're with our children, things like this. We have a recommended reading list of 70 books. And also my online courses are there at our website as well. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school, okay? And it's on demand. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. It's on sale. I think it's $80. It's about 16 hours, 18 hours, something like that. You can watch all around the world. Watch. It's on demand, okay? All right, guys, so everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Eat right, take your vitamins. I took my multivitamin today. I get a multivitamin from Whole Foods. It's a vegan-based multivitamin, so you can take it on an empty stomach as well. All right, so I'll go back and answer your questions later when I get back home. Let me see. Very good info, Saeed said. All right, and the videos that I do, I provide you a lot of information. Take notes. Go read the articles I'm providing you with. Proper documentation ends all conversation. I don't deal with feelings and emotions. I deal with facts and evidence. I'm a researcher. I've been doing this 28 years. I'm a researcher. I don't do opinions. I deal with facts and evidence. Proper documentation ends all conversation. Okay, so look, we got to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. Once again, if you want to donate to the African History Network, $, the AHN Show, stands for African History Network, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, or paypal.me/the AHN Show through PayPal, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button. You can also set up for a recurring donation if you are so kind, you want to do that. If you're in a position to do that, we appreciate that as well. That's it. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.